A landlord learned a valuable lesson after the eviction moratorium left him out thousands of dollars. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's not just about the eviction moratorium. It does, though, look at things that we can do to improve in the future as landlords, okay? So before I get into that article, hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Maybe leave a comment down below and let me know what you think of this kind of, information, because I think that this is really important that I get this kind of info out to other landlords. This article comes to us from WFSB.com, and it says, Landlord reflects after eviction moratorium leaves him out thousands of dollars. Yeah, so as bad as the eviction moratorium is, sometimes there's other issues that have made, basically exacerbated it and made it worse for landlords, okay? And we're going to get into that in this article, and it's pretty interesting, so let's get into it. Westbrook, Connecticut. The eviction moratorium has ended in Connecticut. The measure helped many families, but it also devastated hundreds of landlords who had filed eviction paperwork long before the pandemic. Channel 3 met a family in Westbrook last year who says they will likely never recover what they have lost. The Dunn family can now enjoy their beautiful home on the water again. It's much more relaxing there now than it was last summer when they were in the midst of a crisis. Yeah, there we go. These people are out thousands of dollars. They know that they're not going to be able to recover probably any of it. And fortunately, they were finally able to get this tenant out of their property, and they were able to, get back into it themselves. Now, it sounds like it's some sort of a vacation rental since it's near the water, but I'm not exactly sure if that's the case or not. But it's good news for them that at least they were able to get that tenant out eventually and stop all the losses, okay? It's gut-wrenching to come here because the emotion it takes on my wife is devastating, said Jeffrey Dunn. He explained that back in January of 2020, weeks before the pandemic, his tenants, Robert and Faith Mara, who were staying in another home Dunn owned just a few steps away, told him they simply would not be paying any rent going forward, and they had no plans to leave anytime soon. I don't know how anybody could be like this. I've never met people that could do something like this, Dunn said. After their story aired on Channel 3, the community rallied around the Dunn family. I think everybody in the state saw it because every time I walked down the street here, everybody said, "Hey, I saw you on TV," Dunn explained. Yeah, it sounds like he got a couple of professional tenants up in his place, and the people, they just knew that in tenant-friendly states, you can just move into a place. If a landlord, doesn't do the correct checks, etc., then, they basically they hop from residence to residence, stay as long as they can, don't pay any rent, and eventually they move on or get evicted. But they don't care; they just go to the next place and do it again, because there's never a shortage of landlords who aren't doing all the proper checks and doing things like they should be doing. The support was nice, but didn't solve the problem. The Dunns were in for a long fight because the Maras had done this before. Yeah, like I said, professional tenants. Court records show that in 2019 alone, the family had been evicted from 2 other Westbrook homes after their landlord said they just stopped paying rent. They got the boot from the first house in February of 2019, and by April, a second landlord took them to court. They were evicted from that house by October, and a short time later, they settled into Dunn's home, stopped paying rent after a couple of months, and rubbed Jeffrey's nose in it. Wow. Yeah. It would have been a few simple checks to see that these people were, really, really bad tenants. Just, hey, what's the phone number for your previous landlord? Or, even a lot of backgrounds now, like when you're running backgrounds, evictions pop up on it. So these people have had multiple evictions, and, it wouldn't have taken much for a good screening process to have weeded these people out. Unfortunately, a lot of the landlords out there, they're not professionals, or they only have 1 or 2 rentals. And I know that's not an excuse for screwing up like this, and it ended up costing them in the long run, but it is a reason why these people have been able to just keep doing what they're doing and screw over a lot of people out of a lot of money. He's told me outright that because he's done this so many times before, he says, I'm staying here until the sheriff comes to take me out, because he knows that he can stay there that long. The laws protect them, Dunn said. Sadly, it was true, in large part because of the coronavirus. The eviction moratorium just expired at the end of the month for COVID cases, and even landlords who filed eviction paperwork before the pandemic didn't fare much better. The Moras didn't get the boot until February. Wow, so they went from January of 2020 all the way to February of 2021. So about 13 months without paying rent, without getting evicted. And, these are professional tenants. The judges should have, had a special, they should have had exceptions to the eviction moratorium, because people like this get into your place and they can just devastate you. And right now, there's no recourse for these people after they've lost so much money. And let's see how much they've lost, okay? It was somewhere around $60,000 between the winter and summer rental that was lost. Over 14 months, Dunn said. He adds that he blames himself for making what turned out to be an expensive mistake. He rented to the Moras without doing a background check, an error in judgment his family will never make again. And now he warns other landlords to go above and beyond to protect themselves. What I would have done is I would have insisted on 3 references, previous landlord references, credit check, background check, all of which we are doing now, he said. Yeah, I've done most of that since the very beginning, okay? And that's the thing, okay? You can't trust anyone's word for it. I know that people are like, oh, I think this is a good person. No. Think all you want. Trust but verify. That's what you have to do. Trust but verify. And any red flags on there, and they're just a no. They're just a straight no. That's why it really bothers me when I hear about places like New Jersey, which are trying to block backgrounds from being a factor, or places where they're trying to make it so landlords can't look at people's eviction history. These tenants are the reason why I'm so opposed to that kind of legislation. You can really, really hurt a landlord badly, and there will be people who abuse the system in those kind of cases. And without any sort of exceptions to the rules, there's nothing that a landlord could do about it. So, yeah, great article. I'm glad that he admitted that he screwed up on it. I would do the same. Admitting your faults, there's nothing wrong with that. But this can be a great lesson for landlords in other parts of the country. Always do your background checks. Call those references. Call their employer. Make sure they're employed. Verify. Trust but verify. That's the motto that we should go by as landlords when we're trying to select a tenant.